Hello everyone, this is John from Vulgar Kitten Studios, and welcome back to episode 11 of our Introduction to Web Development and PHP MVC Programming, all of that good stuff. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at error handling, first of all, because we don't want to go any further until we get our pretty page handler set up. And also, just a little side note, as I was reviewing the last video, just to check to see if there were any errors or anything like that, Windows 10 just decided to fucking crash on me. So, like, I mean, this experience for me, like I said, I did not have high hopes for Windows 10 just because of the epic failure that was Windows 8 and Windows 8.1. But, like, I am beyond frustrated right now. I mean, like, this operating system is terrible. I mean, it's a brand new laptop with a brand new installation of Windows 10. All the updates are installed, and it just crashes for no fucking reason. So, go back to Windows 7, just saying. So that's the end of my rant. I'm going to go ahead and set us up now. So what we want to do is go into our services. We'll go ahead and close down the views and everything and go into our services. Find our error handler, and we want to make use of whoops. So the file that we pulled in from Phil is namespace under whoops, and we want to pull in the run, and we want to pull in whoops and handler pretty page handler. And that's what we're going to actually use. So in our initialize, all we need to do is just say make a new whoops, and that is equal to a new run, and the handler is equal to a new pretty page handler, and then we just basically say whoops and push our handler and pass in our handler and just register it. And so that's all we really need to do for that class. So now we need to register it in our app. So by using self-service error handler, we can use the initialize function, and now we got an error handler. So let's do something silly like that, and let's see what we can see if we can actually get an error. So first of all, since I just started up Windows again after the crash, I need to start up Apache and MySQL, and so now that should work. So let it catch up with me. So we got a syntax error on line 21. All right. So maybe that's not the best example. Let's see what we can do with, we have this. Let's go into our index page and cause an error. Or let's see. Let's go into a view and cause an error. So maybe something like this. Hopefully that will, okay, it's giving us syntax errors, but it's not actually registering whoops. That's interesting enough. Let's see. So probably because I don't think that I registered in the right order. I registered, basically, let's see. Yeah, I registered the error handler after the route service. So we want to do that before. We want to register the error handler before anything. And so there we go. Now we got that. Let's come in here and cause some errors. And there we go. So there's our pretty page handler. It's going to spit out a better formatted version of any kind of errors that we got. Hopefully it would work in the app too. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. But yeah, it doesn't. So luckily though, we know that we ain't gonna have any errors directly in here. So whenever we, let's see, possibly like in the controller or something, we can do this, and yes, we'll see that fire off. And so that's gonna help us out with debugging. So what I want to do is I want to be able to make an environment system, so that way we can work with different sorts of environments. Like if we have a development environment versus not a development environment, but a production environment, then we can have different configurations, but still have kind of the same access to everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to call this environment.json, and I'm actually going to start working on the configuration, since that was really easy to do, since our error handler was really easy to do. So in here we can do stuff like, well, first of all, I want to make an object, and we'll make a database object, and each one of these I want to have its own object of information. So like our driver is going to be MySQL, and our host is going to be 127.0.0.1. Now you could put localhost in there, but obviously since Eloquent uses the PDO, uses PHP data objects, you want to use the IP address instead of the domain, because if you require DNS lookup, then that's going to slow down your scripts. So just use the IP address directly instead of a domain name, so that way you can circumvent the need for DNS lookup, and that'll make your scripts a little bit faster. But anyway, we also want to put in a name for our database, which I'm going to call our sexy, and we'll obviously need a username, which is also going to be sexy, and we'll need a password, which in our local development environment, I'm just going to make password. We don't really need a secure password right now. We also need a char set, which is going to be UTF-8, and we'll also need the correlation, which is going to be UTF-8 Unicode CI, and you can specify a prefix if you want to, but I'm just going to leave that alone, just so that you can, if you want to specify a prefix for Eloquent, you can do that if you want to. And we'll also, if we make a login system, then we'll need an authorization object. So we'll have this session name stored under something like user ID, and we'll have, like, if we use a remember me functionality, then that would be like, I guess, remember ID, or we could even do user ID as well. But that is neither here or there. We'll just do remember ID, just to make sure that we keep it separated out. And also, since we'll be working with hashes, we can set up hash configuration data, since, like, depending on your hardware, you can actually make your hashes even stronger. So you can specify your algorithm, which I'm going to set to 1, just because I want to use blowfish encryption, and I'm going to set like a cost to be like the default of 10. And like I said, depending on your hardware, you could increase this number and get a better hash. And if you want to implement curve encryption or any other kinds of encryption, you can do all of that within your configuration as well, because you can do whatever you want to in this file. This is just the things that I know that I'm going to want. Then we'll also need a CSRF for cross-site request forgery, which will set our session equal to token. And we can also configure our email server credentials, which is going to be something like, we'll have SMTP set to true, or actually, as a matter of fact, it can just be a true value. We can say secure, and that is going to be set to URL, and our host is going to be set to, we'll use Gmail, so smtp.gmail.com, and then we'll have like a username, which will be like whatever our usernames are. I don't really know if I have any unused ones. Let's see if I can add an account. Let's see if I can remember one that I can use for us. So VKS PHP tutorial at gmail.com, which will be password. Nope. So I can't do forgot password either. I don't want to do that. So we'll sign in with a different account, add account, and VKS PHP tutorial at gmail.com. Or actually, better yet, let's create an account. Let's just go ahead and create an account that we can use. So I'm going to say create, my name is John Manning, and my username is going to be VKS MVC tutorial, and password is going to be my password, and I can go ahead and put this in there. So April 4th, 1989. So now you guys know how old I am. I am a male, and you don't need my number. And my current email address is this, and I want to skip verification. Well, I will go ahead and 454, and my location is going to be United States. I agree to the terms of service. I put mail. Thank you very much. And that is not my number, nor do I care to put my number. So I didn't leave it empty. That was actually April. Thank you. And common words are too easy. Try again. I understand that, but see, someone already has this. So MVC tutorial. Let's see, Gmail or Google. Let's see. Well, it's being kind of crazy. Okay, so I got us an account. It's going to be VKS PHP MVC, and I'm not ever going to use this this particular email address for anything other than this tutorial series. So feel free to steal it. Anyway, yeah. So I'm going to use that, and password is going to be, I just set it up as capital P 244 word, like that, and that's just because of the characters like that. So I'm also going to set the port to 465 because we're using SSL, and HTML I'm going to set to true. And that is going to be our configuration information. And, well, let's see. I have to go through all of this stuff in order to be able to use this, apparently. I understand. Now, go away somewhere. So yeah, go to Gmail. And so yeah, this is a brand new Gmail account. You can just go ahead and delete all this crap out of it. And hopefully I'll be able to use that as my SMTP server. We shall soon see. So again, what we were working on is our configuration. So what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to access any of these values. through a class. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Models, Services, and open up our config. And for our config class, we're going to have a method called get, which doesn't even really need to be static. It can be just a regular function. And we can, well, first of all, we want to say if our $_server is, well, PHP self. If that is going to be lace, then we obviously have to use a different file path. So our file is going to be file get contents, and we're going to get environment.json file, and otherwise file is going to be equal to file get contents environment.json, like that. And now all we need to do is just set up the name, which is going to be explode dot name. So we'll go into here. We need to pass in a name in order to access anything in here. And so our file is going to be JSON decode file, and we want to return file name 0 and name 1, like that. And that is because we are going to call whatever our actual whatever our object is, and then dot whatever the configuration is, and that'll return that value. So the way that we can test this out is we can go into app, and we'll just say we'll call echo self service config get db.driver, and we'll just echo that out onto the screen. So that should just like that. Perfect. And so that is going to be our configuration file. And so we actually got quite a bit done in this video, so it's already starting to get a little bit long. But anyway, I'll see you in the next video when we probably set up our database. So I'll see you then.